I first try to understand what I have to do exactly. I did go through the things, go through the files of earlier rejected claims, and then based on that, understood what was lacking in those things. And based on this, that I find many DICGC claims, all were settled, and even those which were rejected were also settled.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, the podcast where we dive into the minds of top executives and explore what makes great leaders. I'm your host, Tanayol, and today we have the privilege of speaking with Mr. Dilip Dighe, a seasoned banking professional with nearly 40 years of experience. Sir has a remarkable background, having managed operations across a wide range of banking functions, from credit and recovery to foreign exchange. Notably, he has successfully led the recovery of over 1,000 crores in stressed assets and played a key role in managing corporate and small business accounts. His ability to navigate complex financial challenges and build strong client relationships has made him a trusted expert in the industry. In today's episode, we'll explore Mr. Dighe's journey, his approach to leadership, and the lessons he's learned along the way. Whether you're in banking, business, or just interested in leadership, there's a lot to take away from this conversation. Mr. Dighe, it's a pleasure to have you with us today and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you. Good morning, first of all, and thank you very much for calling me.
It's our pleasure, sir. Sir, before we dive into all the incredible things you've accomplished in your career, I'd love to hear a bit about the beginning of your journey. Like looking back, when you first stepped into the world of banking, what was it that sparked your interest? Was there a specific moment or experience early on that made you think, this is what I want to do?
I joined the bank in 1984. That was quite a long time back. Banking today is very much different from what we had got yes that during those days. There was no computerization. Everything was manual. Okay, so it was totally a different field, different kind of field at that time. Banking was totally different at that time. But what happened was that within my first year of my service, I got a chance to work in foreign exchange. Now that is where I started believing that yes, I have got some qualities which are more better than most of them. I was able to handle most of the things independently. With 1 year of service and handling so much independently was something which really made me believe that I have got some skills in me. And after that, my management posted me in advances. That was within a very short period of time I was going to work in advances. During at the time, maybe in 1983 or something like that, during those days, some mass loans were given and there was no recovery in that loans. So my management thought that I am the right person to lodge DICGC claims. Now, those who had worked with me during those days will know how difficult it was to get the DICGC claim sanctioned. Uh, I first tried to understand what I have to do exactly. I did go through the things, go through the files of earlier rejected claims, and then based on that, understood what was lacking in those things. And based on this, that I find many DICGC claims, all were settled, and even those which were rejected were also settled. Now, this is a thing which made me believe that yes, I am belonging to this place. I am a real banker. That is where the banking part, there is one thing where you just see that somebody sitting on the counter, cash counter or something like that. But I had a different feel totally. I was a real banker. That is what I started believing in myself. That is the way my banking career started. I didn't shift from there anywhere. Banking only.
And sometimes
That's
these,
what.
yeah, and these different experiences a lot of times make you gain interest in a field that to others might not be interesting, but because you're in a niche, you find something interesting and keeps
Yes,
you
yes,
going.
yes, 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 yes.
Sir, recovering 1,000 crores in stressed assets is no small feat. That's not just about numbers, it's about making tough decisions, managing high stakes situations, and navigating immense pressure. So I'm curious, sir, what goes through your mind when you're in the middle of these high stake situations? How do you stay focused and make the right calls when so much is at risk?
First of all, I will tell you something. I was in credit section and I was doing very nice in credit section. I knew all the schemes. I knew everything. And with my ability, commitment and ability, I was able to do things very fast. But maybe because of my commitment, one day I was told that you have to work in SAM branch, that is a recovery section of high-end recovery. That is loans which are above some 100 crores or something like that. Now, to take a decision to move from one section where I was giving loans to a place where I was to see to recover loans, that was itself, it was a challenge for me because one end you had something like that. You get application, see the application, do the due diligence, see if everything is on order, go ahead. Here, I was to handle some 5,000 crore worth of files, and I had to understand those files. I didn't do anything, which is a low hanging fruit where I will be able to recover something very fast. So it was really something which I felt, I had to really concentrate and I had to go through those files. And yes, when I started going through those files, I did realize what I have to do, what way I have to go ahead. Yes, the simple steps when we did, we didn't get anything. When we sent a notice, nothing happened. So there were things like NCLT, forensic audit, surfaces action. So these are the actions which I started taking. Now this is where I found, yeah, yes, there was some rattling in the big borrowers who were NPAs. There was some rattling, and that is where I really started understanding, yeah, how I have to go ahead. And I will give you one case. I had gone for now. This is a case of a SPV. Two corporates had joined together, and they were doing a project. I would not like to go what kind of project or anything, individual names or something. And one of the businessmen, I mm, went to the forensic audit, and I saw that I can claim see it's a fraud. And after that, I went even to the extent of uh, issuing the notice for why shall we call you willful defaulters. Now, when you send such notices, they have a battery of lawyers. They come with a lot of things and everything. So my bank was given a notice. Yeah, how have you called somebody a willful defaulter? With that notice, they even sent a SPV agreement between two corporates. While going through the agreement, I saw that the financial aspect was to be done by the one businessman whom I had was to classify as willful defaulter. And I just showed him that point. Can you know this is what it is? Showed his lawyer those points. So that was everything finished. They had to make those payments. And that is the way, you have to see what are the loopholes. You have to go through those loopholes and uh, get to pin down those big customers. They are really thick skinned, but yes, you can do that. And then if you really go in that direction, they are businessmen. So if something goes wrong, they cannot get finance for other things.
Yeah.
So yes, that is the way I looked at it. There are so many other examples also I can give you, but this is one I just would like to make you aware. Okay, yes, this is how I just handle those things.
And it would be
Yes.
totally different back then because there is no internet, there is no help, there is no online. You have to go through every paper yourself and find
Yes.
the loophole.
Yes, that is a thing which goes for 3 4 days also at
Yeah,
times. Okay, because when you go through the agreements, when you go through such papers, you have to see the finer aspects.
yeah.
Where you are going to trace that mistake. Yes, and you trace it, and then you have to keep it pointing. Yes, this is your mistake. This is where you're. This is what it is. That's the way it is.
So, we've touched on some pretty heavy topics today: NCLT cases, forensic audits, and managing stressed assets. These are complex areas that can seem daunting to many. But I'm sure there are a lot of misconceptions people have about financial recovery, especially when they hear terms like stressed assets or forensic audits. So, I'm curious, sir, what's one misconception you'd like to debunk for our audience?
First of all, as far as when we give uh, finance, when we make the finance to our borrowers, we expect amount to be recovered as per the repayment terms. Whatever are the repayment terms, we have to recover the amount in that fashion. Most of the people pay the amount properly, but there are few who don't pay it. Maybe there are some instances where really there may be problem, but there are instances where people deliberately avoid making payment. Okay, and when they are avoiding making payment, then we have all those tools which come into picture. Now, one of them was the forensic audit. As far as forensic audit is concerned, we tell our auditors, we have our panel auditors, we tell them that this is what we are interested. This is the scope of your audit. You go in this direction. This is what it is. Try to see there is diversion of fund, misrepresentation of given information or anything that sort. And that is the way they go ahead. And based on that, we go for the uh, classify the account and as fraud. Now, this is the information which forms the basis as for classifying an account as fraud in CBI or any other case also. That is the information, that is the basic information. It is not the only information. There are some other information also which come into picture. Next is about NCLT. Now, NCLT is something, it is a quasi-judicial body which came into being. Okay, it replaced the company law board and it took cases from of company law board as well as BIFR and AAIFR. These are the things which it took on. And now, as far as I will just keep myself to the banking aspect, under Section 9 of IBC, we file our cases in NCLT. So once the case is admitted in NCLT, the company loses its management. It is given to a resolution professional. Now, this is what a company avoids. So there are cases where as soon as it is admitted, company comes and tries to pay the amount because there they lose the administrative aspect. So so this is one of the cases which I have seen. Even there are cases where when cases are filed in NCLT in Section 7, that is for operational creditors or other creditors. Okay, the same thing happens. So this is a good tool which has come into being where large borrowers are scared to go ahead with uh, just avoiding payment of their dues.
Yeah, noted,
Yes.
sir. So, in today's economy, financial resilience has become absolutely crucial for businesses, especially for startups. If you were advising a startup founder today, what's the first piece of advice you'd give them when it comes to financial preparedness? Like, what's that one thing they absolutely need to keep in mind to ensure they're set up to weather both the highs and lows of business?
First of all, I would like to say be yourself, set goals, be yourself. Don't follow what others are doing. Your startup is unique.
Yeah.
You are the best to know about it. Now, this is my mantra to any startup. Now, I'll give you a small example. This example is regarding there were so many various loans were given to uh, Ola people driving Ola and Uber. So many of this loan went bad. The reason was that somebody had taken a uh, uh, transport loan of Ola or Uber. Those people who are not aware of where to make their car stand, where to make their those people were given loans. Those people without having so much expertise, just because somebody has done, they are doing, and they were the one who really failed. So this is what I feel. You have to be yourself. Okay. And when, as far as now, we have to set goals. First of all, set goal. That is, you set it. Uh, it may be short term as well as long term. So this is the first aspect. You have to see that you set some goals. Then assess your ability. How much funds you have got, how much you are going to invest, how much debt you can incur. Okay. Then the plan comes. You have a budget. See that you have a budget and even a contingency for the budget. Third is that go through the plan. Is it being implemented properly? And if there are something which you have to change, yes, you change it. You see that there is course correction done. Next is review. As you go ahead with the startup business, you have to see that you review also the accounts. Reviewing at that time, you will realize, okay, yes, I have now everything is set as per my goal. I can review my plan. I can go for a better. I can change my thinking slightly. I can go for more business, or I may realize, okay, yes, this is the field where I may not be getting so much funds, so I should not avoid such a particular area or something like that. So these are things. These are the small things which you should know. Now, one more example I would like to give. This is something which I did beyond my service, beyond my abilities. Now, this is an example where contingency comes into picture. Contingency is something which is, you can put it like that. Yes, funds should be there or something like that. There is something which I did. I had a garment manufacturer. We had given him some OD facility, and he was doing very nice. All his payment were online. Therefore, he was also having good customers. That is what I could understand. There was no check payment. All his payments were through online. During COVID period, I got a call from him, and he told me that tell me the procedure to close my OD facility. I asked him what happened. So that time he told me that there is no business as such now. I can't even pay my workers. So that was a talk which went for nearly half an hour. I had to do two things. First of all, console him and then counsel him also. So first, consoling part, forget it. But the counseling part, in that case, I told him, are you not getting any business at present? Yes, I'm having some small business. Things have started moving. Yes, you take your workers into confidence. Tell them that as far as whatever I am getting, from that, whatever I can give you, I am giving you. If you go out of, if I leave you, you will not be getting anything. You have to survive this COVID period. And yes, he followed my instructions. In 2023, I got a call from him. He had even started exporting garments. So that's something, this is something where I did something which was beyond my duty. And what happened to him? He had an asset who was able to explain him, "Okay, yes, you can survive. You go ahead." Yes, that is where contingency is not just about funds, about few plans. There are people also who can guide you. And this is what I did. And I really feel proud of it, whatever I did. Yes, sir. Yes.
True. There is no value match for people with money, right? What people can give you at times in such situations is you can't compare it with money, very rightly said. And about review also, sir, that once a business gets a loan, we often forget where we're going, if that's actually making sense. If we keep looking back at it, it always helps to check and keep making those fresh decisions based on it. Sir, you've achieved so much throughout your career, and I'm sure your journey is far from over. But as we look ahead, we'd love to know what are your aspirations for the future? Like, how do you see your career evolving in the coming years? And in terms of your role in the boardroom, what kind of impact do you hope to make as you continue to contribute to shaping leadership and governance in the financial industry?
Now, in this regard, I'd like to tell you that I had interacted with top management of corporate offices, corporate people, and I had seen them. Some of them, and everybody had their own knack of getting the things done. Some were quite confident. If you don't give, I'll go to some other guy. There are even some who were having all the nitty-gritties, who knew everything about every small part. And that's the way I was really fascinated with those things. But when I was shifted to SAM branch, and when I was going through various files, in one of the files, what I found was an electronic company was making a profit of 250 crores per month. Now, it just went for diversification. In a very short span, it went for diversification from uh, telecommunication, finance, um, leasing, oil exploration. Now, a telecommunication company, electronic company, should have not gone for all this telecommunication and everything like that. The impact was somewhere it failed, and then there was the cascading effect. Everything went wrong. and all its subsidiaries were pulled in and sold. The impact: workers lost their job, operational creditor were in trouble, shareholders lost their share value. So this is where I started thinking that yes, if I was a member of a board somewhere, I could have guided them. Yes, you are getting sufficient stock, lot of money, but that doesn't mean you have to be that fast of diversification. So diversification, which was done in a period of some few months, few years, it could have been delayed. It could have been, you should have taken some steps where the diversification should have slowed down. It should not have been that fast. So this is where I started believing, yeah, I should be a person who should be able to guide in this particular field. That's what I felt. Yes.
Sir, ESG is really reshaping the finance world right now, especially when it comes to lending and investment decisions. With your vast experience in banking, how do you see ethical banking influencing these areas in the future, and how important do you think it is for businesses and investors to embrace this shift?
As far as any entity was earlier going for profit, profit, and profit,
Yeah.
then there were so many things which came into picture. And I have seen in my childhood, I had seen somebody doing business. That man's son used to tell me, my duty is to exploit my workers so that I get profit. Okay, now this is what I have seen as a child also. There was somebody talking about how how businesses were done. They never thought about others. So it has to change to profit, people, and planet. Okay, and then the ESG and all things came into picture. But at this moment, I do believe, yeah, there is lot has to be done. It is quite in the infant stage. SEBI is telling that you so many people have to inform about ESG ratings and everything are there. Those things have to come. But I do believe, yeah, yes, my bank or any bank doesn't have any guidelines about ESG. We have guidelines about priority sector. We have to have 40% of our credit given to priority sector. So there is something of that sort. Now there has to be fine tuning. There has to be some change. There has to be, if my financing to improve as far as with ESG backing, then definitely I have to see that there has to be something which has to be done in this regard. Yes.
True, sir, and especially looking at the future, it's something that was under the table for the longest time, but now people are realizing that we can't keep doing that because that's not a long term way to run businesses for people and society.
Yeah.
Sir, it's been wonderful to hear about your incredible journey in the banking industry. I understand you recently joined Directors Institute. Could you share your experience joining the institute and what it means for you professionally?
I have already told you, yeah, I have been interacting with various people, and I have also given you an example of some electronic company. And I did believe I had a lot of experience and I should go for being an independent director. But I stumbled on Facebook about the Director Institute, and I had an orientation session there. After orientation session, I did believe I should go ahead with whatever information I may be adding to my knowledge. And I really tell you, I was having some 75% of knowledge, but I really it was vastly experienced, vastly different from what I had just imagined, and it really has improved over my skills in a big way. And I have to also be thankful to all the not only faculty members but also your staff. The way they interact with us, even if you send a WhatsApp message, they reply immediately. They tell you, and even if there is a delay in some particular aspect, they tell you they have an information. Is there any problem? Are we to help you? And it's really fantastic, fantastic. I'm grateful to Director Institute.
Thank you so much for those kind words, sir. It's been an incredibly insightful conversation. From your impressive journey in the banking industry to your thoughts on ethical banking, ESG, and your recent involvement with Directors Institute. It's clear that your career is rooted in a commitment to both excellence and long term leadership. For our audience, we hope you've gained as much insight and inspiration from this conversation as we have. Whether you're navigating your own career, striving for leadership positions, or exploring new venues in the world of finance, there's so much to take away from Mr. Dighe's journey. A huge thank you once again, sir, for taking the time out to join us. And to all our audience, stay tuned for more engaging conversations with top leaders in business world right here on FaceTime with Leaders. Until next time, keep leading with purpose, never stop striving for excellence, and have fun in your journey. Thank you so much.